Welcome back to Perry's Pit on James for Hire. I am Matthew Perry, and some kind of shocking and upsetting news coming from the wrestling world today, as WWE have made more cuts. More wrestlers have been released. These ones, the biggest names yet. I will give you the list in just a second, but this is coming just every week now. There seems to be something, and last week a few digital media crew members were released and cut, and just a few weeks before that, we had another big one with Samoa Joe, the Iconics, people like that. I can't forget Velveteen Dream and a few others being released, although the Velveteen Dream one's justifiable, of course, based on what happened with him. You could read into that on your own time. But this one is big. This group of cuts of WWE talent today, I'll give you the full list, and you'll see it down here. Braun Strowman, Aleister Black, Lana, Murphy, Ruby Riott, and Santana Garrett. This was very surprising because a couple of these guys have been involved in stuff as recent as last week. Aleister Black, one of my favorite wrestlers, he was just returning from an injury that we were just found out today. Actually, Aleister Black had a stream on his wife, Thea Trinidad, also known as Lena Vega, her Twitch channel, where he answered a lot of questions. He was very nice. He was very cordial and respectful, very grateful. After the release, everything he said so far has been very respectful. He's a class act, but he basically said that his injury he was only out for 3 to 6 weeks, but he was out, he was off of TV for over 7 months. We hadn't seen him for a while, but he was just not coming back. With this Dark Father gimmick, he rushed Big E on SmackDown a couple of weeks ago, and he even said earlier today on the stream that this Friday on SmackDown, he was going to continue the feud with Big E, and I guess you could say make it official because things were still kind of up in the air. But he was about to get TV time again with a new gimmick, a new everything. Apparently there was a theme song, a entrance song that was yet to be released. He was supposed to have new music, new everything. It really sucks to see Aleister Black go. Like I said, one of my favorite wrestlers. He had plenty of great moments in NXT, kind of misused on the main roster, but he was about to get a chance to kind of show what he was made of, and he didn't get that chance, unfortunately. He's been let go. He does have a 90-day no match, no wrestling call, whatever you want. He cannot sign with another company for 90 days. So he'll be a free agent for a little bit, relax at home, which he's been doing. So I'm sure he's not too happy about that. But hopefully we'll see Aleister Black in a wrestling ring before you know it. Another one that really surprised me more than the others, Braun Strowman. I'm not the biggest Braun Strowman fan. I've been pretty straightforward about that in past videos where he's had matches and reviews and stuff. I don't love guys that are just strong. Like that's their character. I need there to be more than that. And that never really came for Braun Strowman, but he was still a big name, former Universal champ. He was in a title match just the last pay-per-view at WrestleMania Backlash. He was in that triple threat match with Lashley and McIntyre for the WWE Championship. And now just weeks later, he's out of the company. He might be harder to sign, to find somewhere else than Aleister Black. I think Aleister Black's a lot more versatile, has a lot more character capabilities than Braun Strowman, but we'll wait and see on that. I don't really have a prediction, but hopefully we see him back in wrestling soon. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter kind of saying this might be the end of the road for Braun Strowman when it comes to wrestling, just because a guy like him, it can be hard to find somewhere else to go. Impact, their budget is, I'm sure, limited. AEW, they sign a lot of former WWE talent, but you can only sign so many, and you can't overpack it. New Japan have had luck in the past turning WWE big guys into better workers, but I don't know if Strowman is the kind of guy to go, international. He's very homegrown, and his roots are definitely here in America. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Braun Strowman, but of course we wish him the best. And hopefully he's on our TV screens again soon, because to think that, at his current age, this being the end of the road for him, I can't really imagine it. It's not something that I could wrap my head around, but we'll have to wait and see. Lana, of course, she'll find a new home. Her husband, Miro, formerly Rusev, who she worked with in WWE, is now on AEW. He's the TNT champion. I think her going to AEW is a lock, pretty much. I think her going to AEW fits perfectly. she's gotten a lot better in the ring. You know, when she first started after Miro left WWE, she was very green, very still catching on to things, and she got heat for it on Twitter and from the fans. But you know, she was just settling into a groove here. She was in a couple different tag teams. She spent some time tagging with Natalia, Naomi, and was kind of almost settling into being a member of the women's division. But not all things work out. I do think the AEW could be a good place for her, whether they want to use her just as a manager. We saw how good she was as a manager at the beginning of her WWE career when she managed Rusev, or if she wants, or if they want to add her as an in-ring talent, why not? I would love to see a mixed tag match, Miro and Lana or CJ Perry, whatever she winds up going by in AEW, against Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford, because I don't think we ever really saw that interaction end between Miro and Kip and Penelope and all of them, because they were together in a feud against the best friends, and then all of a sudden Miro turned on them, uh, kind of pushed them aside, and now he's what he should have been from the start at AEW, which is a brute, a good champion. Honestly, he's doing well so far as a TNT champ. He's what he should have been from the start, not the whole best man BS fighting over video games and stuff like that. But he's finally setting into his own. So I do think Lana, CJ Perry, whatever, can come help Miro quite a bit. The other one's Murphy, who we hadn't seen on TV as much. I think we've only seen him a handful of times in 2021 on TV, probably 5 or less times, honestly. He was, with Seth Rollins. He was his Seth Rollins' disciple when Rollins was the official Monday Night Messiah, but they had their feud from there in 2020. And Murphy hasn't been seen much since. He's a great talent. He was absolutely fantastic in the Cruiserweight division when he was the Cruiserweight champ. I really liked him in NXT. The work he's done on the main roster has been good work. His match I want to say it was Extreme Rules a couple years ago against Aleister Black, is one I really liked. I really liked that match a lot. And Murphy has a lot of potential. He screams New Japan to me, because I don't want to compare him to Kenny Omega, but they do have similarities. Murphy does hit a V trigger, if that helps the comparison. But they're both very athletic, and I don't know. I feel like they have similar wrestling styles. So I think Murphy could thrive in New Japan. Obviously, anywhere he goes, he could definitely be helpful, as long as he gets the time to really show what he can do, because that's really all you need is time with Murphy, because he's got it down. You just have to put it in front of a camera, give him airtime, basically, and watch the magic unfold. I think he's a great talent, and wherever he goes, he's going to be successful. Ruby Riott, part of the Riott squad with Liv Morgan, never really got a chance to shine. Her and Liv got close at WrestleMania to winning the tag titles. I wish they would have had a reign as the tag champs, because that tag division it's a lot of recycled, put together tag teams. Last year we saw a lot of Sasha Banks Bailey, when she was the women's champion, also holding the tag belts. We've seen Asuka do that. I want to say we've seen Charlotte do that, and that really annoys me. I like natural, organic tag teams that are formed not just by random. I don't like that when they're just thrown together, kind of like Lana, Naomi, and even Natalia and Tamina. Now they were kind of thrown together, but the Riott Squad have been a staple, or at least were a staple, of the women's tag division for quite some time, and they never got a reign or anything like that. But I do think they deserved it. Ruby Riott was apparently very good in the Indies. I honestly haven't seen much of her work outside of WWE, but she apparently was very good in women's divisions outside of the company before she joined WWE. So I'm guessing she'd head back to somewhere smaller. I'm not sure. AEW's women's division is getting better by the day, it seems, just through their development. They've already made a couple stars. Britt Baker. I like Ty Conti. She's definitely up and coming. I know she started in NXT as well, but she didn't start growing really until she came over to AEW. I'm not sure where Ruby Riott goes. Honestly, Impact could be a decent fit for her, but she's underrated, man. I mean, whoever gets Ruby Riott, I mean, hopefully they help develop her a little bit more, and we could see more of her, because with WWE, we never got really a true chance. And Ruby Riott didn't get a fair chance herself to really show the WWE universe what she could do. So hopefully we see her in 90 plus days. And then finishing up Santana Garrett. She was an NXT product. I believe she's been injured. I don't remember last time I've seen her on TV, honestly, but she was another one that didn't ever really get a chance to start moving in the company. She had a couple matches in NXT. I don't think she gained any real momentum, but from what I saw, she looked pretty good. She's still fairly young as well. I know she's pretty fresh in the business. So where she goes next, I'm not sure. This is kind of an outlier to these other names I listed, because these other ones were main roster. Some of them, all of them except Murphy, I'd say, got a pretty good amount of TV time recently. Maybe not Ruby Riott, but the other three definitely did. And I don't know. There's a lot of question marks surrounding Santana Garrett. It's kind of like Chelsea Green when she was part of the Iconics and Samoa Joe group of releases. She was injured. She missed a lot of time. She didn't get a chance to really show what she was capable of. Chelsea Green, of course, had a good career, I believe, in TNA or Impact before WWE. Which is why she got signed in the first place. But we're still waiting on what to see from her. I think the same thing goes for Garrett. I think wherever Garrett goes, she's still going to learn. She's still going to pick up on stuff. And in a couple of years, who knows where she'll be? She could be at the top of a women's division somewhere, but you never really know. And yeah, that's the list. I mean, it really sucks. It seems that the main reason, what Vince is telling talent at least, is that's budget cuts. The only thing that makes sense here would be that they're setting up for a sale. Otherwise, these releases are very unreasonable, because the more talent you release, WWE is chock full of talent. They have quite the surplus. I mean, as you could see, they released Samoa Joe, they released Aleister Black, Braun Strowman, and it doesn't really make a difference. These are guys that, I mean, like I said, some of them got TV time, but even the ones that did get TV time, I guess you don't need them if you're WWE. They just have so much talent. But I don't think this is the end of the releases. I'm scared for Keith Lee. I know he's denied it a bunch of times, but you never know. I'm scared for Keith Lee. I'm scared for Jeff Hardy. I could definitely see Jeff Hardy joining Matt in AEW, though. Will and I have been kind of pushing for that, just because I think Jeff Hardy would be really exciting in AEW with the talent they have there. Lee has been in a conversation, among others, but it's a scary thought, just because there's so much talent. You don't want to see great talent have to go. As long as we see them wrestling somewhere, I guess it's good enough for me. But there's no place like WWE, in my opinion. I like AEW, but it won't be the same if Aleister Black goes there, or even Braun Strowman, who I'm not even the biggest fan of. It won't be the same. But yeah, I guess this could lead to a sale of the company. It's been in talks for quite a while. Nick Khan, president of WWE, many wrestling analysts say he was brought on basically to facilitate the sale of the company. I'd have to think this is going somewhere in Comcast direction. They had the deal with Peacock. Peacock and NBC are owned by Comcast. So if Comcast buys WWE, it wouldn't shock me. I don't know really who's on the market for the biggest wrestling company in the world, though. So we'll have to wait and see. I don't know. It'll kind of suck when the McMahons are out of wrestling. It'll be kind of weird. I mean, Vince has definitely not been the same Vince that he used to be for quite some time, but it's still Vince. It's still Shane, Stephanie. It's the McMahons. I'm sure Triple H and Stephanie will still be in creative control, I guess you could say, but owning the company, it'll no longer be, Vince Jr. It'll just be kind of weird. It'll take some getting used to for sure, but hopefully they sell the company into good hands. It's going to happen at some point, but it's more when than if. So we'll see. It definitely sucks losing the talent, but hopefully we see them somewhere else getting plenty of opportunities and still making fans happy. So for now, for Perry's Pit and GMs for Hire, I'm Matthew Perry, and we'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.